laid off. And when I came back to get rehired after the layoff, the person actually told me, literally told me, no, David, you burned a bridge here. And that was a difficult thing to hear. So then I vowed I will never, ever, ever burn a bridge. And so now this the career that I'm in now. I've been in this profession and in this job for 7 years, and I plan on being there for quite some time. So that was definitely a lesson to learn. So we're going to go ahead and go into the rest of our meeting. And since I am the general evaluator evaluates the entire meeting from start to finish. And that is my job. And for this particular meeting, I have some helper roles to help me run this event. My first person I'm going to call up is our grammarian, Jamard Bosakai, or Jay. He likes to be called Jay. So Jay is our grammarian.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My role as the grammarian is mainly to give you guys just a lesson on just grammar and how to properly use the English language. Um, the lesson that I'm going to bring up is just like going back to the basics as far as like parts of speech. So there's 8 basic parts of speech. You got your nouns, which we all know that, person, place, or things. You have verbs, which are action words to help describe what the noun is doing. You have pronouns, which are like he, she, it's, all the stuff that you can use to substitute for a noun. You have adjectives, which are just describing, like just words that describe things, like the sky is very beautiful today. Beautiful is the adjective. You have adverbs. Give me 1 second here. I had to actually go back and search adverbs myself. Adverbs are words that usually modify a verb. So, in the sentence, they only shopped locally. Shopped is the verb, locally is the adverb. Describes like when they shopped or where they shopped. They're happily married. Are is the verb, happily is the adverb. And then you have conjunctions, words that combine two sentences or clauses. So, and, but, if, stuff like that. You have interjections, which are words that are used to express emotion, like wow, oh, stuff like that. Prepositions, which is like sort of like transition words in the sense, for, on, under, stuff like that. And that's about it. That's pretty much the breakdown of the English language as far as I know. I'm pretty sure other languages use a very similar format. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you. We have more helper roles. That was a great job breaking down some grammar lessons. The whole point of a grammarian is to help us write our speeches better and become more fluent and more knowledgeable about the way we're speaking and to use better words. So great job, Jay. Thank you for that. Our next role, I'm going to go to Wordmaster. Our Wordmaster is Harry Harmon.
Hi, I am the word master. Purpose of the word master is to choose a word that is supposed to enlighten your vocabulary a little bit, and hopefully you can try to use it in your speeches or whatever your talking points today. So the word of the day is for this evening is formidable, which is of great strength and power as to defeat something that is in your way. So I feel like with all the strength and power we have, we can defeat this pandemic that is upon us, as well as any other great thing in our way, because we are powerful human beings if we put our mind to it. It takes takes a while to realize sometimes that we do have power. Sometimes we think we're weak when we really have a lot more power than we have. We know we do have more than we actually think we have. So, and the word of the day, I also like to point out what David said about in the email about something that an opportunity that you may have missed, and then something that you want to work on to improve. Originally, I'm 35 years old, but I graduated from high school and way back in 2002, which makes me feel really old because most people I work with are under the age of 20. But I originally went to college for business administration at Old Dominion University, which was something I had no interest in and something that was very not fun. I graduated, but then since then I've been continuing to be working menial labor jobs because of that degree, which I have really no use for, and no enjoyment in working in the management field because I don't think I want to be a manager. So I went back to school, and I'm just going to graduate next year in a totally different field, and I'm doing it online, which is really a lot easier than going in person. I'm trying to get I'm going to get a certification in medical records, billing, coding, and I'll have a profession. I'll be able to lead the fast food industry for good. Thank goodness. Get away from McDonald's. Probably won't even eat there afterwards either because the food isn't that great to begin with. Thank you.
Thanks, Harry. Appreciate that. I second that about McDonald's. Just don't. That's personal preference. Our timer is going to be Josh Puerto. He's going to keep time for us this event. Josh.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Beginnings Toastmaster. I'm your timer for tonight. My role tonight is just to make sure that nobody goes over during our speeches and during our table topics, the fun part of the night. And I will tell you all the rules so that everybody can know. 5 to 7 minutes, our speeches tonight will be at 5 minutes, I will show a green card. At 6 minutes, I will show the yellow card. And at 7 minutes, it is over. It'll be the red card. During our table topics in store for you tonight. I don't know what Rob has what he's bringing for y'all tonight, but my goal is to make sure that y'all go 1 to 2 minutes in table topics. So at 1 minute, I'll show y'all the green card. At 1.5, I will show y'all the yellow, and then at 2 minutes, I'll show y'all the red. What David said tonight, I have a story as well. My story was when I was younger, at the age of 17, I played soccer. And the coach heard about my enlarged heart, so he wanted me to not play anymore. He kept telling my mom and them that he didn't want to run me around, and something happened to me. And I really enjoyed playing soccer. So I used to ask him, please don't take me off the team. Whatever I do, whatever I have to do, I'll show you I can do it. Well, he put me off. He said, no, I can't risk it. I don't want it to happen to you. So I kept on being insistent. I kept on playing in the gym and showing him that that was going to happen. And all my soccer team members were, hey, Josh is a good player. Let him play. So he finally said, you know what, Josh? I'm going to let you sign. Your mom's going to sign a waiver saying if anything happens, we don't want to get in trouble, but we know that you love the sport, and we're going to let you play. So I played with them from 9th grade all the way to 12th grade with no problems. And I also, at that time, got a scholarship to go play with the USA team, but my grandmother was scared of me breaking bones. So she took the career away from me, but I had the opportunity to go play soccer where I wish I could go play. And I say, sometimes we think that we fail in life, but we never fail. It's just sometimes we have other callings out there that we are supposed to follow. And I think that's why I wasn't a soccer player, because my goal is somewhere else to probably help people come closer to finding out who they really are. Because sometimes I deal with that not knowing who I am, but I have a lot of people who push me to do good. So I feel like my success is out there somewhere. And I think I'm finding it every day here with New Beginnings Toastmaster. Thank you, David.
Great job, Josh. And we appreciate you, and we're glad you're here. And I look forward to seeing you improve and become the man we already know you are to be. So we're excited. I want to go back to Jay because Jay is going to be also counting our ahs, ums, and filler words. Jay, you want to speak to that real quick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, pretty much. I'm just going to be keeping track of if you use any, I would call inhibitors or speech inhibitors, just anything that that's perfect example. Just anything that slows down your speech and doesn't give you just that smooth, eloquent delivery that you would want. So it's just to keep you aware of how you talk so that in the future you could keep better track of just how you deliver whatever your message is.
All right. Thanks, Jay. That's a great breakdown and summary of what an counter does. So thank you for that. And our last but not least, our topics master is going to come at the end of the meeting, give us some interesting topics that we will need to speak for 1 to 2 minutes about. Our topics master is Mr. Robert Riggs.
All right. How is everybody tonight? Who here has ever been on a job interview? Okay, about half of you don't have a job, but the other half clearly have jobs. Like JP doesn't have a job, clearly. But everybody else has been on a job interview. So at one point or another, you had to answer some random question. You weren't prepared for it. Tell us one time that you had a failure, but you grew from it. Okay. 1 to 2 minutes. Tell me that answer. Well, that's what I'm looking for here tonight, except I'm going to put a little twist onto it. I'm going to suggest that if you are participating in table topics tonight, and I have about 10 of you, and I even have 2 backups, so I have about 10 of you. If we have time, I think we do, Mr. Toastmaster evening, we can probably go through about 20, 25 minutes max. Table topics. I'm going to have a creative session for you tonight. I would suggest if you are participating, and I'm going to call on 10 of you, to have your camera set far enough back, at least about 5 feet, so that we can see what's going on, because I'm going to have some body movement here. I'm going to hopefully get you to produce some body movement to explain your situation. I want us to get the understanding of you standing up, looking back, and showing us what you're talking about. I'm not going to tell you anything more than that, except that the title of the table topics tonight is Show Me How to Dougie. So take with that what you will, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a very creative table topics. As for a time where I failed the first time and kind of reinvented or got a second chance, made it up, I was going to be a doctor, and that's what I always wanted. I was in med school for 1.5 years, believe it or not, and I discovered through the middle of all that okay, like being a doctor's kind of cool and kind of crazy, but it wasn't for me. So I had to reinvent myself. I am not even in the medical field now. I'm actually in banking. So I failed in that arena in the sense that I didn't fail out of school, but I gave a lot of effort and time and money, years, to that goal, and it wasn't for me. So I failed as a life goal to become a doctor, but I succeeded in reinventing myself to what I was meant to be, which is a finance banking guy. That is what I would say is probably the best way that I've gotten a second chance at life and a second chance at my career. Mr. Toastmaster.
Something that I don't know if you failed. Do you really consider that a failure? You just kind of shifted direction there. Well, it was a great story, and thanks for giving us that opportunity to hear it. So we're going to go right into our speaking. We have 2 fantastic speakers this evening. We have our Presidente, who will be speaking first, and I'm going to make sure I get his introduction correct. He is working out of Pathways Dynamic Leadership, and he's working on his project entitled Negotiate the Best Outcome. His title speech is The Hostage Negotiator. Negotiating is a part of everyone's everyday life. If you are not convinced, let John Paul try to persuade you. Our first speaker of the evening is none other than JP, Mr. John Paul.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening. For just a quick question. How many of us think that we don't negotiate every day in our lives? Like nothing we do requires some sort of negotiation. Thank you, Robert and Josh. Well, let me try to convince you with a couple of examples that happened in my life. And after reading the project, has persuaded me to believe that this is to the contrary. So I'll start by going back when I was younger with my mom, the ultimate hostage negotiator, right? Growing up in a Haitian household or an island household, a lot of people can relate to this. Your parents tend to lie to you a lot, but they do it to get the best outcome. Now, when it comes to negotiation, there's four types of outcome you can get from it: a win-win, a win-lose, a compromise, or knowing when to walk away. And I want you to find out through some of these examples which one was my mom, which one was me, and which one were my other friends in the other example I give. For this one, my mom would tell us every time, like every summer, without a doubt, if you clean the house, I will take you to Disney World. Now, thinking as a kid, like, hey, like this is a big house. This is really impossible unless I work with my siblings. We can get it done, but I think we can do it fast if we work together. And she'll be able to take us to Disney World. And this year, although she's alive the past 2 years, something's going to change. Obviously, she probably saved enough money. There's some gas lying around that she could take us to Disney World. Not the case. I cleaned the garage, the kitchen, the bathtub. As soon as I get home, waiting for my mom to get home, she'd come home and she would take her finger and she would run it across the counter. And she found us. Oh boy. Oh boy. I feel sorry for anybody. Actually, I feel sorry for me because I got the worst of it. And she would make sure that we never would go to Disney World. If you haven't guessed yet, it was a win-lose. My mom always won. I always lost. And she was always a good negotiator. Like she used her negotiating tactics to get what she wanted and made sure she held us down and made and understand what reality was. Well, we were not going to get ice cream every night, and we were never going to Disney World. To this day, I have yet to go to Disney World. So my second example was when it came to actually buying a house out here. And I have a bunch of criteria that's met when it comes to buying houses. Obviously, I'm not going to buy a one-bedroom house that I'm trying to rent out to a family because they're not going to live in it. So my standards have to meet my client standards, which has to also equate to like prices that I'm looking for and standards that I need to find when it comes to buying property. I came across a house in Norfolk that I thought was perfect because it was a duplex. I loved it. My realtor loved it. But there was two things that didn't fit my criteria. One was the price, and the second was following the VA guideline for the house. So this guy bought the house, and then it was a single family. He turned it into a duplex, and I wasn't able to do anything with it. At this point, this is where the second negotiation skill come in. And instead of wasting my time of talking the price down, trying to put more money into something that was going to end up in a heartbreak, I decided to walk away because I know there's more there's better property out there, and that's why I chose to go with. In this case, I used the negotiating tactic of when to walk away. My last topic is when I'm renting out a room or something, and it's at this point I understand it has to be people that I know I'd like to live with, and it's a win-win since they get to live in the area and also, or they get to live in their own room and all this other stuff, and I'm able to actually profit off of it and use it to build my future in the long run. For this negotiating tactic from Pathways, this is the win-win tactic. Although it might not be winning for some of them because I can be loud and a little bit messy, is I guarantee you, y'all would love to. Anybody would love to rent out a room with me currently. I promise. So then, these are my 3 examples that I gave for this project, and hopefully, I persuaded you guys to understand that negotiating is a key aspect in all of our lives. And although you might not realize it, you can still incorporate it into your lives and just find a way to tweak it to get the best possible outcome. Mr. Toastmaster of the evening.
Great job, JP. Thank you for that. Timer, can I get 1 minute on the timer for evaluations, please? Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Josh is muted. I'm not sure if, did we get a minute? Okay, there he is.
Not yet. We haven't got one yet. Now we do. We're good to go, guys.
All right, thanks, Josh. All right, I'd like to call up our next speaker. It's Andrew Bullock. Oh, let me get back there. Andrew is working on the legacy manual. He's working in Manual Path, humorously speaking. And the title of his speech is Look at Me Now. Andrew has been our mentor for New Beginnings Toastmasters. He's working towards getting his, I believe, the Distinguished Toastmasters, but he can definitely, thank you, Robert. He's working towards Distinguished Toastmasters, so we definitely want to help him get there before the end of this fiscal year or Toastmasters year. Please welcome to the lectern, Mr. Andrew Bullock.
A man without any introduction. Yeah, I didn't write one. I don't need an introduction, right? This is me. I'm Andrew Bullock. I rule this world. You don't need to introduce me. I introduce myself. I'm Andrew Bullock. I've been a Toastmaster for 3 years, almost 4, and I'm here to entertain you. You see who I am now? Look at me. I've put on some weight. Don't mind that. So I wanted to share a little bit about my history. I spent a lot of time being a pain in other people's butt. I was the kind of person that caused trouble just because I could. I was always getting into fights. I always destroyed things because it entertained me. I always got into situations that I really shouldn't have gotten into just because I could. In fact, me and my mom were reminiscing about a time when I was 2 years old. Actually, I don't even think I was 2 yet. But my mom was getting ready to give me a bath, and I didn't want to take a bath, so I escaped the house, running down the street completely naked. It was just one of the things that I did because I did not want to take a bath. She said to this day, she doesn't understand how I was able to open the door because I shouldn't have been able to escape the house, but I managed to open the door and get out there. And I was running full speed. This is the kind of person that I am. When I was in middle school, I once shorted out the electrical system in an entire block of classrooms with a nickel. I still don't understand completely what I did, but I can tell you that the school's wiring was faulty. The fact that I was able to do it with a nickel. I dropped it in the socket and I blew out, I think, 4 classrooms. One teacher was actually using an overhead projector and she actually screamed because of the loud pop when the electricity went out. It was probably one of my favorite achievements. And then there was another situation that, God, I'm always doing something. I'm always getting myself into trouble just because I can. I had one and I lost it. Oh, when I was in high school in my computer networking class, I was in the habit of pissing off my teacher. And I did this. There's a program that allows teachers to monitor the screens of all the students in the classroom. And if they see a student doing something they don't want them to do, they can interface with the computer, lock out the controls, and close it out, or whatever they choose to do. And Mr. C, he was my networking teacher, he saw me playing this Star Trek game that was on newgrounds.com. And I was supposed to be working, but I wasn't because I was playing the game. And he interfaced with my computer and he locked out my controls. And first time, I let him get away with it. Second time, I decided, yeah, I'm not going to let you get away with that. So the moment he interfaced with my computer, I applied a control system that locked him out of my computer and actually crashed his computer. He lost it. He called my mom. He called my dad. He had them coming out there. He threw a tantrum. He still didn't understand what it was that I did, and I wouldn't tell him. And he tried to get my parents to tell me to tell him what I did, and I wouldn't tell him. I kept my lips sealed. And he tried to fail me because of that, because I was too smart for him, and he did not want to teach someone that was smarter than him. He was very controlling about that. And eventually he began to respect me because I didn't flaunt my intelligence around, but I was inventive enough that I was able to surprise him, keep him guessing, and thank you. and and I kept him young. That was what he said at the end of the year. I kept him young because nobody else in the world would ever have thought to defeat him when it comes to controlling other students' computers. And here I am now, a computer technician that often provides remote assistance to other people. And I have actually had people, for the first time I've ever interfaced with their computer, what in tarnation is this demon sorcery you're doing on my computer? The mouse is moving by itself. Why is it doing that? That's just me. I'm here to help you. This is Toastmaster.
Andrew, That was a great speech. Very funny. That's classic. You should have turned the class over to you after doing something like that. Timer, can I get a minute on timer's report for evaluation, please? 1 minute.
Time.
All right, thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Can I get a timer's report now? Can you get a timer's report, please?
Yes, you can. How y'all doing? Mr. Holdway, John Paul, you got 5 minutes and 7 seconds tonight in your speech. Mr. Andrew J. Bullock, you got 5 minutes and 50. You both qualify. Go ahead and do what y'all got to do to pick the best speech of the night.
All right, so both speakers qualify. Please send your votes directly to our New Beginnings host. Send your votes directly to Andrew, New Beginnings host, and he will tabulate our winner for best speaker. Before we go on our break, I want to call up our Listen Up. Our Listen Up guy, believe it or not, we've had a spy in our midst the whole time, listening to everyone, paying attention to what they're doing. And that Listen Up guy is Mr. Zach Phillips. Would you please explain your role, please, sir?
Hey, my name is Zach Phillips. I'm doing the Listen Up role. And the important thing about the Listen Up role is that, you know, we just have to the whole entire night, you know, especially with the speeches, but the whole entire night, just, you know, keep active listening. And by doing that, we become better speakers and better speech makers and just respond to people just so much better because of, you know, our listening abilities.
Great job, Zach. Thank you so much. And so what Zach's going to do is he's going to listen throughout our event and take some notes and listen to what we're saying. And he's going to test us at the end to see if we've been listening. So thank you, Zach, for taking that role. And we're excited to see what we find out. We're going to take a 10-minute break to get all acquainted and to speak a little bit, and then we'll come back to order and continue our event.
Educational session led by Tammy Adams. So let's welcome Tammy.
Thank you. All right. Let's put this up here. So tonight we will explore active listening. I'd like to walk with you over a bridge from conventional thinking to higher thinking. Being heard, truly heard, is perhaps one of the greatest gifts we can receive. It fosters a deeply personal environment if one will allow it. What you might not know is that this gift goes two ways. It not only gives the opportunity to learn something new and improve communication skills, but it creates a more healthy, respectful, harmonious relationship. It is a sacred alliance. Some may not be familiar with this term, so let's see what it means. You can read that definition here. And I'm going to show you a fun video that will give you a better understanding of what conventional active listening is.
First, there was PlayStation, aka PS1. Then there's PS2, PS3, and now PS4. And that makes sense. You'd think after Xbox, there'd be Xbox 2. But no. Next came Xbox 360. And now, after 360, comes Xbox One. Why one? Maybe that's how many seconds of thought they put into naming it. Can you get the butter, please? Yep. However, with the Xbox One, I can control my entire entertainment system using voice commands. Up until now, I've had to use Leonard. Then get the other one. Pass the butter. Hang on. I don't feel like you're taking this dilemma seriously. Fine, Sheldon. You have my undivided attention. Okay, now, the PS4 is more angular and sleek looking. No way! It's true. But the larger size of the Xbox One may keep it from overheating. You wouldn't want your gaming system to overheat? No, you absolutely would not. And then furthermore, the Xbox One now comes with a Kinect included. Included? Yes. Not sold separately. Although the PS4 uses cool new GDDR5 RAM, while the Xbox One is still using the conventional DDR3 memory. Why would they still be using DDR3? Are they nuts? See, that's what I thought. But then they go and throw in an ES RAM buffer. Who is it? Who's they? The Xbox. You're kidding! No, I am not. And this ES RAM buffer should totally bridge the 100 gigabit per second bandwidth gap between the two RAM types. This is a nightmare. How will you ever make a decision? See, I don't know. What should I do? Please pass the butter!
So that's a little fun. It's a bit exaggerated to generate laughters, but laughter's a doorway. I invite you to expand your thinking. Yes, active listening is a tool to better understanding, but if done properly, it's more. It's more because you are inviting the other person to have a safe place to delve deeply within their heart, and your presence is there to bear witness to it. What an honor. It comes with many benefits. You can see some here. To me, the most important on that list is to build trust and establish rapport. So how do you listen? Here are some tips, and they're all good. But there's one missing from this list, maybe the most important. Keep an open heart. Sometimes people will say things you just don't want to hear. But when you're willing to accept another's reality, you are allowing yourself to become vulnerable too. This is healing and bonding for all involved. That doesn't mean you have to agree with their reality. It only means you are willing to give them the space to explore their own. In conclusion, keep an open mind. Keep an open heart too. It's the greatest gift of love that you can give another and yourself as well. Turn it back to Mr. Toastmaster.
Tammy, that was a fantastic VPE segment, and I really like that video. That was very funny. Perfect for showing both sides of active listening. Thank you for that. That was amazing. So we're going to go into our next part of our meeting, which is table topics. Is everyone ready? Mr. Robert Riggs.
All right, everybody. Welcome to your table topics experience. And yes, it's going to be an experience tonight like none other because, to be honest with you, I've never seen it done this way. I've never even heard of it doing this way. So this is a little bit of an experiment, but I think it's going to be a fun one. To explain in a little more detail what I'm going to do. Well, I'm going to ask you a question, but the question is going to be related to a specific type of dance. You have about 1 to 2 minutes to kind of give us a flavor for that response about what that dance is or what it does, or more importantly, kind of maybe show us how the dance works. Because let's be honest, we're all visual learners here. we're not just listening with our ears, we're also listening with our eyes. So we want to be able to see what you're talking about. I invite everyone to participate if they so choose, but for my first victim or my first helper, I'm going to call up the one, the only, Mr. David Marshall. How are you, Mr. David Marshall?
I'm very good, but for some reason my camera just went out, so
Oh,
I don't
darn.
know.
It just went out.
I have no idea what happened, Robert.
Do we want to
No
give
idea.
time? Do we want to give a little more time for David to try and get his camera working? We do. David, we're all waiting for you. There we go. Oh, the camera's working. Excellent. David, I'm going to ask you a question twice. David, can you show me how to do the Carlton? David, can you show me how to do the Carlton?
That's easy. Come on. So it's real simple. If no one knows what the Carlton is, it's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Carlton used to do this weird dance. Right? I don't have the shirts with the jackets and the pink sweaters and all that stuff, but that would definitely make it good, right? So this is gonna be a short tutorial on how to do the Carlton. Okay, so there we go. So first of all, I don't know, Robert showed it, he did something like this, whatever, I don't know what that is. But so first position, right, is you want to make sure you have a good snap. All right? And you want to come snap down. Oh, let me move the shadow away. I'm gonna break something. So I told you I didn't have 5 feet. You want to come down, right? And as this one's coming down, this one's going up, right? So you want to. And if you really want to get into it, you can do one of these. Mouth open, right? Because you want to look kind of corny, right? There you go. There's the Carlton dance. All done, Mr. Topic Classic.
Oh, David, that is wonderful. Thank you, David. After every single question, I'm going to ask everybody to participate as well. So I'm also going to ask I'm going to ask Andrew to please unmute everybody, because I want everybody to vote a little bit after every single question, if that's okay. I have 2 categories. Was David either Rico Suave or was David an arthritic chicken? So again, Rico Suave or an arthritic chicken? So everybody, was he Rico Suave or arthritic chicken?
Obviously, no one's talking about being an arthritic chicken. Everybody very calm. Rico Suave.
Rico Suave.
Rico
Suave.
Excellent. Thank you. Can you please mute it again, Mr. Andrew Bullock? So now, I gotta unmute me. There we go. For my next participant, I would like to call up the one, the only. Well, you did such a good job. Why not show us again what this is all about and explain it, Tammy? Why don't you come help us with this next process? Tammy, can you show me how to do the Macarena? Can you show me how to do the Macarena?
I don't remember that dance. It's been forever. And I don't have 5 feet, so I got to do it from here. You want to play the music at least? Give me a little help. Come on, Andrew, where's the music? I could act like
I'm going to defer this one to Robert Riggs.
Okay, I can try to find the music. Hold on.
Just look up Macarena. It's up there. It's on YouTube.
Or we can just get Josh.
Josh could just sing it.
No, we can't do that one.
it's not going to work. He's up too close.
Hey, Rob, share screen and share computer audio.
I gotta find the song.
In this video, I'm going to ask you to hip from side to side and get into the rhythm of the music. Step 2 is
I got it.
So, first hand movement.
Sorry, everybody.
Is putting your arms out forward.
So can we mute the
There we go.
I am not trying to seduce you.
When I dance, they call me Macarena, and the boys they say que soy buena. They all want me, they can't have me, so they all come and dance beside me. Move with me, chant with me, and if you're good, I'll take you home with me.
Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena.
Now don't you worry about my boyfriend, the boy whose name is Vitorino.
Good enough? Did we have to do that?
Real quick, Andrew, was that a Rico Suave or an arthritic chicken?
There.
That was caliente for me.
That
can't be Rico Suave is God.
He goes,
She was a lady.
All right, you can go mute everybody again, please.
I only saw this.
You unmute me? All right, excellent. For our next participant, I'd like to call up the one, the only. Now, you don't have a role tonight, Mr. Hans-Peter Johedle. Oh, ready to go, ready to go. Hans, I've never seen you dance ever, and there may be a reason for that. We're about to find out. But, you know, God forbid, I think you can, because I think you were the president of a dance group for like 10, 15 years. Is that correct? Absolutely. I would like you to tell me, because I don't understand. How do you do the robot? How do you do the robot?
I have no clue. I never seen it done. I never done it. So I can't tell you how to do it. But however, I, as you said, was the president of the United States Amateur Ballroom Dance Association here locally. And I'm a practitioner of ballroom dancing. What I'm talking about, just 1 second here.
In a pretty cabinet, and came, she said, just like Mary Antoinette, a building remedy for Khrushchev and Kennedy at any time. Invitation you can't decline. Extraordinarily nice, she's a killer. Way down our eternity. Dynamite with a lazy beam.
So I don't know how to do the robot, but I can do the foxtrot. Mr. Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Mr. Hans-Peter Johedle. By the fact that you kind of gave us a demonstration of the foxtrot, I like how you repositioned to something else. You are allowed to give us another dance if you have no idea what I'm talking about. So thank you very much for demonstrating that, sir. And I will tell you right now, those dancers are definitely more Rico Suave than arthritic chicken. For my next individual, I'd like to call up the one, the only, the invariably interesting and funny Harry Harmon to possibly demonstrate an interesting dance, one that I have never mastered, but I hope to one day. Harry, can you please tell me, how do you do the chicken dance? How do you do the chicken dance?
Oh, wow. Actually, I don't know how to do the chicken dance. However, I'm going to attempt to do a different dance. If you can find a song that I was just thinking about, because I like a lot of these stupid, cheesy one-hit wonder dances. The Laffy Taffy, can you find that? The D4L song? Girls shake that Laffy Taffy. You know that one?
Yeah, stand by. Oh, you got it? Okay. Go ahead and share.
Girl, shake that laffy taffy, that laffy taffy, shake that laffy taffy, that laffy taffy. Girl, shake that laffy taffy, that laffy taffy, that laffy taffy, that laffy taffy. I'm looking for Mrs. Bubblegum, I'm Mr. Chico Stick. I wanna dun-dun-dun, oh, cause you so thick. Girls call me Jolly Rancher, oh, cause I stay so hard. You can suck me for a long time, oh my God. Girl, this ain't a dance floor, this a candy store. And I'm really geeked up, and I got more trouble. I pop, I roll, it's soft. I know it's the summertime, but your laffy taffy got me full. Get loose, get low, don't be shy. I'm Playboy. I know you wanna ride.
My favorite member of the D4L was Favo. He was always my favorite.
I'm sorry, everybody. I thought there was a clean version. But very good. Thank you, Harry. Would anybody want to vote whether Harry was either Mr. Rico Suave or an arthritic chicken? Which one was it?
Rico Suave.
Rico Suave.
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 Suave. Something, something. I don't know how that goes, but it's nice.
Okay. I would like to call on one of our guests, if that's okay, Miss Asha Zar. If you could do me a favor, you've done table topics before. If you could help me understand something, I'm trying to figure out how, I've seen it done, even in 1983 I saw it done. Can you explain how to do the moonwalk? Can you explain how to do the moonwalk?
I can explain it. It looks like your feet become a bulldozer rolling backward. However, I do not have the space to show you. So I can instead show you some ballet positions, such as with my arms only, such as position 1, position 2, where one arm is above oneself and the other is out at the side. Scratch that, that's position 3. This is position 2, I believe. It's been 41 years. Position 4, your one arm is above your head, the other one is directly below. And I remember 4 out of 5. So that was my attempt to divert from the moonwalk, but if anybody wants to see it, the good old Motown classic where Michael Jackson debuted it and the world, including myself, went completely berserk. I can do the thing where he also goes up on his toes. That's brilliant as well.
Thank you very much, Asha. I sincerely appreciate that. Now, Asha didn't actually get a chance to dance for us, but she did give us some good description. So I'm going to say Rico Suave altogether on that one. I'm going to say that you really didn't look at all like an arthritic chicken. So fantastic work. I do want to apologize. I got a notification via chat. Anybody who I ask a question, please remember in the upper right corner, there's 3 little dots. If you hover over Josh's video, there is 3 little dots in the upper right where you can actually pin his video. So if you're ever trying to answer this question and you can't see Josh putting up the timing cards, just make sure that you pin his video right there. So look in the upper 3 dots on Josh's screen, click on put pin video there. You can see the timer right there. He can show you what your time is. All right.
Due to the unorthodox nature of this table topics, we've elected to qualify everybody.
Okay then, all right, that works as long as we get it. I'd like to move to one other guest if that's okay. This gentleman was great enough to actually come and be the listen up tonight. Mr. Zach Phillips, it's your second meeting, your first time ever doing a roll. Well, you're gonna get another question here if that's okay. You might need to unmute yourself. There we go. Mr. Zach Phillips, here's an easy one. I'm gonna throw you a bone, okay? Mr. Zach Phillips, I don't understand. Can you tell me how to do the twist? Can you tell me how to do the twist?
Oh, man. I think. Hold on. I don't know where I'm going to put this so that it can be seen. Chair. All right. Something like this. They've even got a couple of Chubby Checker records. Yeah. Something like that, I think.
Keep going. You gotta move the hips a little more.
What?
You gotta move the hips a little more.
Oh, okay.
Come on, baby. Let's do the
twist.
That's right.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Let's do the twist.
We're gonna qualify you as Rico Suave. So.
Rico Suave.
All right. If I can't get Mr. Jay Bossicott to help me out for this one, my nephew taught me how to do this, and I cannot figure out how to do this stupid dance. Can you please, for the love of God, tell me, how does one do the floss? Can you please tell me how to do the floss?
Unfortunately, I'm not as young as I look. I don't know what the is at all. These kids come. Oh snap! I seen that. I could try. Give me a second. It's supposed to be some like. I guess if I can add to that though, back in my day when we were all trying to be b-boys and breakdancers, me unsuccessfully, of course, I learned how to do the wave. And to properly do the wave, you have to break almost every joint. So if you're trying to do an actual wave, you're supposed to do it like that. I still got it. Mr. Table Topics Master.
That was pretty impressive. I've never seen that smooth of a wave before, except on the ocean. So great job. Great job. I think that wave definitely puts you in Rico Suave category. I would like to move on to a guest if possible. Bryant, are you there? Bryant?
Yes. Dad, I'm using my phone today, so.
I don't quite understand this obsession. I know it's a pretty interesting move, but can you please tell me how to do the worm? Can you tell me how to do the worm? And you might want to have to put your phone down for this one.
I might not even have to actually do it myself. There's a couple of worms I see outside right now that are doing it pretty good right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a worm issue out here, so so pretty much. So I'm not gonna do the actual worm, but it'll look more like a beach whale, if I can best describe it. So let's see if I can kind of get my phone to stay in place a little bit. So have you ever seen a beach whale before? They stare into the ocean and they have a hard time reaching it for some reason, but it kind of looks like, I can't even do it, but. And that's how they get beached. And we later find out in the morning that we lost the whales that night. So I get a couple of pounds as I left the Navy. So
oh goodness,
I'm out of breath now.
Oh goodness, that was good. That was excellent. I now know how to do the worm. I wholeheartedly. All right. So I believe I have a couple more people, if that's okay. I'd like to call Miss Whitney Hickman. Are you interested? Possibly, Whitney. So there's lots of dance moves I went through, but there's lots of them that I don't know. So can you please tell me any dance move? Any dance, you might have to unmute yourself, by the way. There might be an unmute button there. But can you please tell me demonstrate any dance move that I haven't said so far? Any dance move that I haven't said so far, please demonstrate how to do it.
You haven't done the Cabbage Patch. You have not done the Cabbage Patch, and let me see. There you go. Done. 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 That's it.
Thank you very much, Whitney. That was fantastic. That was her first time doing table topics. So everybody please give her a quick clap for that. And I believe there's actually, I apologize, there's actually 2 more people now, and I promise we're done in just a minute. Donna James, though, gave a specific request. She said, there's a move I know, and this is a move that none of us have seen yet tonight. Donna James, can you please tell me, and make sure you turn your computer so we got lots of space for you to show us. Can you please tell me how to do the pop and lock? I've seen this before, and I nearly broke my neck trying to figure out what they were doing. I'm like, what? So show me how to do a pop and lock, and maybe even a pop and dangle.
All right, so here we go. The pop and lock is a dance move where you have to pop certain parts of your body as you do a dance. So if you could do if you could do me a favor, Robert, and play Planet Rock.
Party people, can yo get funky? So Sonic folks, can yo get funky? The Zulu Nation, can yo get funky? Yeah, just hit me. Just taste the funk and hit me. Just get on down and hit me. That bot just getting so funky now, hit me. Yeah, just hit me. It's time to chase your dreams about the seats. Make your body sway, socialize. Get down. Let your soul lead the way. Shake it down. Go, ladies. It's a living dream. Love, life, live. Come play the game. Our world is free. Do what you want, but free. Nights are hot. It is a house of funk. Females and males. Both young and old. For the disco, the DJ plays your favorite blast. Takes it back to the past. Music's magic. Poof. Hump, hump, bump. Get bumped with some blast. People.
That's your pop and lock.
Very nice, very nice. I saw a pop and lock. I didn't see a pop and dangle, but that is one heck of a dance. I have one final question tonight, and I'm sorry, Cleo, you're the person I have to ask this of, if that's okay. Donna did a fantastic job. That was clearly Rico Suave all the way. There was no arthritis at all there, but you might need your cat for this one. I don't know. Can you explain to me, and you might have to demonstrate, how the pop and lock is different than the robot? Can you explain to me how a pop and lock is different than a robot?
I have no idea. And I really don't. Can someone help me explain it? Because I have no idea what the difference is between the two. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but I don't know. I have no idea.
I can help you, Miss Cleo.
Please help me.
So the difference between the robot and the pop and lock is the robot is breaking your body into different movements as the beat drops. Popping and locking is like how Jay was saying, everything is fine, the rhythm of your body. That's how popping and locking is doing it. You're hitting it right at the same, it's not really too much of a difference because you're hitting at the same time, the beat. So if you're doing a robot, you're moving your body in a slower motion as what a robot would do. Pop locking it is like moving your bones out of spot and doing other moves with it.
All right. Well, Cleo, is there anything else that you want to tell us about popping and locking?
I really don't. I'm sorry. I really need like a video side by side. I don't know. I don't really know.
That's okay. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like. I don't understand.
I don't really. I still can't figure it out.
Great assist from Josh, our timer. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Joshua.
And everybody, thank you so much for a absolutely wonderful Toast table topic session. Can you imagine if we had done this and we weren't virtual? How much better this might be? Oh, that'd be hilarious. I would have loved it, especially to see Elizabeth and Lee do it. Oh, 100%. So now in the meantime, I would like, if possible, to get a timers report. Josh, were you able to get times for everybody? And if so, can you kind of give us a general amount of time that all 11 people got?
Yes. Everybody qualified tonight. So we are now going off of our decision on who did the best. We have the names are David, Tammy, Hans, Harry, Asha, Zach, Jay Boscott, Brian, Whitney, and Miss Donna James, and Miss Cleo. So send y'all's thing to New Beginnings.
All right, so absolutely.
Thank you.
So we'll have a mulligan on the time on that once everybody qualifies. Even if they didn't directly answer the question and they were entertaining and creative and you think they deserve your vote, go ahead. Or if you think they deserve your vote, go ahead and vote for them. Go down to the chat at the bottom, and then near the chat, go ahead and send it to New Beginnings TM. That's where you're going to send your vote. In the meantime, while I send my vote, I'm going to send this back to the Toastmaster of the evening, who is also the general evaluator, Mr. David Marshall.
Welcome, everyone. Let's see what I got here. Come on, everybody. This is the chicken dance, for those who don't know.
Hey, David, you forgot to share your audio.
What's that?
You forgot to share your audio.
Say it again.
You forgot to share audio.
What? Boo, mulligan. All right. That's the chicken dance. I just wanted to make sure everyone got an opportunity to see what that was, because it's a very fun dance. We're going to move on on our agenda. We're going to move on to our evaluations portion. Our evaluations portion is fantastic because what is the whole point of all this if we can't get feedback to improve on our speaking ability and come back better next time? So we have evaluators evaluating our speeches. Our first evaluator evaluating JP is Mr. Lee Walker. Mr. Lee Walker.
JP was working on the project, negotiate the best outcome. The objectives are the speaker is to learn about different types of negotiation and strategies when negotiating, and for the speaker to pick a past or future negotiation experience from their life. JP started his presentation with a question. Some things he excelled at, he had good eye contact, and I know that's kind of challenging here on Zoom calls because you're looking straight at your computer screen or your phone screen. He always has good voice projection. He asked me to focus on filler words and body language. I didn't really notice any filler words, and we have an eye counter tonight, so I don't want to take up their report. And I didn't really notice too much body language. He used hand gestures throughout his presentation. And as part of this presentation, you're to give examples. So I think JP gave 3 good examples of the types of negotiation. He had a win-lose with his mother, and then he had a win-win with win-win when he was with renting out a room to like a roommate or a friend of his, and then the buying house was where he decided to walk away. It wasn't a good outcome, or he figured it wouldn't be a good outcome on his negotiation. So I think JP in his presentation, he mentioned the 4 types of negotiation. Didn't really explain them, but he used good examples to explain it instead of just giving a verbal presentation of what the 4 types of negotiation are. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Lee. That was a great evaluation. I'm sure JP can definitely use your feedback and incorporate that all into his next speech. Our next evaluator will be Ms. Cleo Robertson, evaluating Mr. Andrew Bullock. Cleo.
Hello, everyone. Tonight, I have the pleasure of evaluating Andrew Bullock for his speech entitled Look at Me Now. And I'm going to be reading from my Word document that I've been typing furiously all night on. So the purpose of his project is it was for him to present a 5 to 7 minute speech, and he hit that out of the park. And it begins with a self-deprecating joke. It includes at least 2 sets of jokes in the speech body, with each set composed of several jokes, and ends with a humorous story. He started his speech with a self-deprecating joke about putting on some weight. And he also started it with a joke of great humility, saying how he did not need an introduction and how awesome he was. And I 100% agree with that. So that was amazing. The 2 sets of jokes, he started with a joke about his, let me go back. So he had some great speech points in the beginning. He talked about how he liked being, or what is or was a pain in people's butts. He liked to cause trouble, or he likes to cause trouble, and he liked to destroy things because it entertained him and because he could. And so his jokes basically are built around those main points. They all were connected with those main points. The first story was about him as a 2-year-old and how he ran butt naked at full speed, and I thought that was pretty hilarious. And I think it was pretty funny because he didn't mind sharing an embarrassing story. The second story was about his middle school joke where he used a nickel and he shorted out a bunch of classrooms, and how teachers screamed at the loud pop of a projector. So he's emphasizing how he's always getting into trouble because he can. And the last joke was, or second to last joke was in his high school days, where he was, where the teachers could use an interface to lock down the controls in the computer. I thought that was pretty funny. And at the end, the teacher said he kept him young, basically. And the last story was a very quick story about demon sorcery and how it ties in to the present day and how he's a computer technician and he provides assistance with other people. Still with a very mischievous air about him. He still likes to cause trouble, but he's helping people at the same time. I know I'm way like over time too. I'm looking at the time right now, but I'm gonna keep going. So basically he ended with the humor story, and the jokes, they all emphasize how he's a pain in people's butts, he likes to cause trouble, and he likes to destroy things because it entertained him. So there were some comments from last week about his use of, thank you, his use of the camera, and I think he improved this week. Last week, I believe the camera was like below him, and it was like in the dark. So it's kind of hard to see him. So the lighting improved, but actually I don't really think he didn't necessarily need the camera, because his jokes could have been delivered via podcast or radio, and they were strong enough just based on the jokes. I do have a written evaluation of 8 questions, which I'll be sending to him later, but overall he did an awesome job and I really enjoyed his speech. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cleo, for that in-depth evaluation of Mr. Andrew Bullock. You can definitely take your comments and improve on his next speech on his road to distinguished Toastmaster. Today we have another evaluation, a special evaluator. Robert is working on his active listening project, and as part of his active listening project, he will be evaluated by Miss Elizabeth Clare.
Hi, am I unmuted? There we go. Robert, you created a tremendous anticipation of what was going to happen, because you started out way early, so talking about what people were going to do and how they're going to need 5 feet, and we were all kind of ready, like, what is this going to be? There was a lot of anticipation, and I have to say maybe a little anxiety in some people's part. It was a tremendous variety of responses you got. It was very entertaining, and I think people enjoyed watching each other and participating themselves. The purpose of your project was to demonstrate your ability to listen to what other people say. So in terms of what you had people do, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for you to listen to what they were saying, because it was more activities of being creative with dances. And so I think you're going to have to need to do this project again, so that you give questions that people speak rather than act out in a dance, so that you're listening carefully, and then you can give them feedback or a segue to the next speakers, so that it demonstrates that you listened carefully. There was a great deal of humor and interest in this, and oh my God, I never knew some of those dances. They were very wonderful. Shows how old I am. I thought if you called on me, I'd have to do the polka or something. I bet you've never heard of the polka, right? So you excel in all the ways that speakers can excel, in creativity and dynamism, personality. And for this particular job where you have to listen carefully to what other people are saying, I think you set it up so you didn't have an opportunity to succeed at that. So I invite you to, again, be Table Topics Master with questions, and listen carefully to people's answers so that you can make a comment to show that you actually listened to them. Now, when I did this project, I totally forgot to listen to people because I was so excited about being Table Topics Master and asking questions. So I understand that you probably got really excited about the project you were doing and how much fun it was going to be, and you forgot about the purpose of the project. So I hope we can see you do this again and do it according to what you have to pass. So you did not pass, But we love you, and it was wonderful and a lot of fun. Mr. General Evaluator.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for that great evaluation and honest evaluation. And we would like to, definitely Robert can use your feedback and improve on his next speech, which is the whole point of evaluations. We're going to move on to a timer's report for our evaluators. Mr. Timer, can you please get a timer's report?
Good evening again, everyone. So far the meeting's going very well. And Mr. Lee, you did 2 minutes and 8 seconds tonight. Ms. Cleo, you went over a little bit by 3:34, and Ms. Claire, you went 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
All right, so Mr. Lee and Ms. Claire qualify. Send your votes to New Beginnings TM. And El Presidente will announce the winner later on in this event. Has everyone had a good time so far? Yay! I'm so glad everyone's having a good time. Tuesdays are definitely a fun night for me. I'm always so happy to come here and see all your friendly faces and learn and grow. And I'm so appreciative of all you coming on this call. Now it's time for the general evaluation and role reports. I'm going to start with role reports. Our first role reporting, we're going to start with our grammarian counter, Mr. J. Basakat.
Awesome. First of all, I'd like to give a formal apology to JP. I gave David a heads up. Literally a minute into your speech, my internet cut out, and I came back in when you were done with your speech. So all I really caught was just one and one in the beginning. So I do apologize for that. For Andrew Bullock, I also caught one and one and as far as your transitions, you use and a lot, which I feel like a lot of your transitions would work well without it, because each part of your story was just like, it had its own individual thought. So bridging those gaps was unnecessary, but the story was amazing. For Lee Walker, I got 4 uhs for you. For Cleo, I just got 1 and for Elizabeth Claire, 2 uhs. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. You listening and paying attention and helping us calm down on our fill words. Our next is our word master. Has anyone used the word of the day, Mr. Harry Harmon?
In the comments section, it's Cleo, so thank you.
I didn't hear the first part. You muted a little.
One person used the word of the day in the comments section. It was Cleo.
Okay. Yay, Cleo. Awesome. Our next role report, we'd like to hear from our Listen Up, our spy of the evening, Mr. Zach Phillips. What do you have for us?
All right, I've got a couple questions. How many parts of speech are there?
For such an important project. Jafar chuckled. Princes do not give up their job.
Okay, all right. What was the word of the day?
Formidable.
Okay.
Formidable.
How many people raised their hands during JP's speech?
I couldn't tell because my screen was.
Was it 2?
It was 2, yeah. And who
That
were
was
they?
a good one.
Who were they?
Joshua and I don't know the other person.
The guy that's.
I guess Robert.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I guess it's Robert.
How many years has Andrew been in Toastmasters?
A lot.
4 years?
3, almost 4 is what he said.
Whitney got it. Whitney got it.
What show did Tammy present in her speech?
Smart one.
I don't know.
The Big
It's
Bang.
the one with the blossom lady.
Big Bang
Yeah.
Theory.
Big Bang.
Big Bang
That's it.
Theory, yep.
Yes.
What is one active skill that was missing from the list during Tammy's speech?
Listen with your heart.
Yes.
Oh,
Very
that's
good.
good.
Who was president of a dance group for 10 to 15 years?
Oh, Hans.
Move head way.
And what genre of dance is it?
Ballroom.
Is it Foxtrot?
Ballroom genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many ballet positions does Asia know or Asha know?
4.
4. Okay.
4 out of 5. Yeah.
And what did Bryant compare the worm to?
A beast whale.
Beach whale.
Who evaluated JP's speech?
Lee Walker.
E. Walker.
Okay, good. And what phrase did Miss Cleo use to describe Andrew's speech? Specifically, right in the beginning.
That's a good question.
Say it again.
What phrase did Miss Cleo use to describe Andrew's speech right in the beginning?
I don't know.
Overall, good job.
Something involving out of the park. He hit it out of the park.
Oh, get out of the
there we
park.
go.
All right.
Wow.
I got.
That's nice.
All right.
Wow. Zach, thank you very much. That was a really good job on Listen Up. Wow, you had a lot of stumpers there, and you even had a visual one. If we were paying attention, listening and paying attention to our screen, very good job doing as our Listen Up role. And now I'm going to go into the general evaluation portion of our meeting. I think we had a great meeting. It was started on time. We had a great time, and everyone greeted each other and helped. I believe that everyone made everyone feel welcome, and everyone participated very well. Lee did a fantastic job, I think, evaluating JP, and I think Leo, you both did an excellent job. The only thing I would say for both is that for evaluations, we don't necessarily want to recap the speech. We want to talk about what they can improve on, kind of use the sandwich method, what you did well, what you want to do and to improve, and then a challenge. I challenge you to, for example, use hand gestures, look at the camera. I challenge you to maybe pre-write your speech or something along those lines. So more of an evaluation is more of giving that feedback for the presentation of the speech, not really talking towards the content of the speech. So I would actually challenge you both to maybe review the evaluation portion of the L1. Everyone does L1 exactly the same. So we might want to, and I need to do that also, to just kind of refresh my memory on how to do a proper evaluation. And so that's what I'm going to challenge you two to do. Other than that, I thank you for your time, and evaluating both definitely did give some great feedback that both can use to improve their speeches. As far as general evaluation of the meeting, I am done, and I'm going to pass our meeting over to, I'll make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm going to pass our meeting over to our president, Mr. JP.
I keep clapping for myself. So yeah, like I'm waiting for someone to start talking, and then like it's me. So can we all give a round of applause for everybody? This was actually a great meeting. That was great speeches. Rob, that was really creative what you did with table topics. David, how you balanced general evaluation and Toastmaster of the evening was amazing. Everybody that stepped up for a role, again, the word of the month is proactive. So the fact that y'all stepped up for the role and are willing to do something that is getting you outside your comfort zone, that's called growing, and it's like really showing. So another big shout out to Zach Phillips. This is your second meeting and you actually stepped outside your comfort zone. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody, including Asha, Whitney, everybody that got involved with the table topics and just either showed something that they're willing to express with the group or try something that was very uncomfortable for yourself, or stepping outside your comfort zone and being willing to try to do something different. That is like that's really good, and that's something that will benefit you in the long run, way outside of Toastmasters. So then, without further ado, let's get into the best speaker, best evaluation, and table topics. So can I get a clap going for best speaker of the night? And I can't hear you because you're muted. Yeah, louder. No. Best speaker of the night goes to Andrew Bullock.
Ducking on the branches and leaping on the rocks.
All right, good.
Charge
Congratulations.
All right, and now for the best evaluator. What was that? All right, so the best evaluator for the night was, again, with the can I get some more hand claps going? This would go to the amazing Elizabeth Clare. And table topics, if you didn't vote for her, obviously, like you killed it. Donna James, with the pop walk, like my roommate was walking her playing in the background, and he started pop blocking too. That was amazing. That was really amazing. That was they were great. From Jay's the Wave to Harry Harmon doing the Laffy Taffy. Oh boy, this was a great table topic. And now moving into our more formal aspects, we have two announcements we'd like to make. One I would like to pass it off to Andrew Bullock for the mentorship portion. Would you mind going into that?
Okay. Can everybody hear me? Excellent. So we've been discussing. Oh, disconnect your audio. Okay. So there's been some conversations about how we were going to proceed with mentoring. So initially, the mentorship program, i.e. the orientation for new members, included introducing you to the club website, introducing you to the Pathways educational system, and pairing you up with a mentor and sending you on your way. We're looking at the possibility of expanding that a little bit and not just focus on the educational system, but we want to expand your overall mentorship experience. And it's not just, oh, I need help with a speech, but we want to focus on learning meeting roles, learning how to do evaluations, things of that nature, so that you have a more complete education into Toastmasters. And this would include how to be a Toastmaster of the evening and how to be a general evaluator. So for those of you who don't have mentors, we're planning on pairing you with somebody that has a lot of experience in Toastmasters. For those of you who are already with a mentor, this is something that we want to follow up with you and make sure that you're getting a full education on. We want to make sure that you are receiving that education. If you've never filled a role as a Toastmaster evening or general evaluator, this is something we would like to encourage you to sign up for in the near future, because it's all good practice. Because leading a meeting, that's actually part of the Toastmasters experience, because we're not just teaching you communication, we're also teaching you leadership. And being a Toastmaster evening or a general evaluator is a good way to step into that. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am the mentorship coordinator. If you're looking for a mentor, let me know. If you're dissatisfied with the mentorship that you've received thus far, let me know so that I can assign you a different mentor so that we can help you grow, learn, and change. Mr. President.
Okay. So then, thanks again for that announcement, Andrew. And now we have another announcement. If you could unmute Robert Riggs, and he has something to put out as well.
Hi, everybody. One last time for tonight. I'm reaching out to everybody because we're in that phase, that May, April phase of the year where we get to talk to different people about potentially wanting to be officers for the next Toastmasters year. That's starting officially July 1st. So when JP said last week that he was not going to be president as of May, he's like, oh, that's because I thought that's when it was all done. I'm like, no, nobody said that. It's actually July 1st is the last time that the current officer slate is going to be over and done with. So right up till then, we're going to be looking for people in general. We're trying to install our officers. We're going to be asking different people, and we want people to come to us as well. For example, Elizabeth has said, I don't want to do a traditional officer role, but you better believe I'm going to try to see if she can't help us in some form or fashion. We can always ask for help. Like, there are little things that you can do all over the place. So please come to us, come to myself, come to JP, come to David, come to Andrew, come to any officer. Lee's also an officer. Come to Josh, tell us, hey, I'm interested in being an officer or helping out in some capacity. There's room for everybody to get involved. So if you are interested, please come to us. We're also going to be reaching out to some other individuals. If you're interested in helping out the officer pool for next year, even in a small capacity, please let us know. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure. And thank you, Robert Riggs. And for the guests, Zach, what do you think about the meeting tonight?
Really good. I really like the whole entire thing. I feel a lot more comfortable this one than the last one, so that's a good sign.
Oh. Wow. Oh, that's great to hear. What about you, Asha?
I felt more comfortable this time, and I enjoyed it so much more because I kind of knew what to look for as opposed to last week, so I felt like I could immerse myself in it and enjoy everything.
Oh wow. Well, that's that's really great to hear. And hopefully we keep up the same energy, attitude, and find a way to develop ourselves in the future as well, like with every meeting. I think for this month, I finished my book, Fierce Conversations, and I was challenged to read 12 weeks a year. So then that might be a book that I would recommend for anybody else to try reading. But besides that, does anybody else have anything for me? Nothing heard? Well, have a good night.
Meeting is now adjourned.